What is up, guys? Mr. Bropo from Mr. Bropo's Toy Chest here, bringing you another figure review, and this time it's going to be on the Marvel Legends 3-pack for Civil War. This pack includes 3 exclusive figures, and it is the Captain America Battle Damaged figure, the Iron Man Battle Damaged figure, and the Spider-Man. I personally got this set on the Walmart website for $20. It depends on how you get this. I know there's I got this in a certain bundle. Like, I got this, and I think there's like another item. It's like a Iron Man mask or something, and it was a bundle, but it was cheaper to get the 2 than to get just the set, so I ended up getting that. We don't know what we're going to do with the mask yet. No one is going to use that, so we might just, sell it or something, or give it to someone. It doesn't matter. What matters is we got a really stinking good deal on a 3-pack for Marvel Legends, so I wanted to review them, give you my overall opinions. I'll be going over the paint apps, the sculpt, the accessories, and the articulation, and then, just giving you my overall opinion. And yeah, let's get started into the review. But before we start, I just wanted to quickly say thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys give me by leaving comments and liking my videos and subscribing. And if you haven't already and you're watching this video, please go down and, hit that like button for me if you like this video and my other content. And if you liked all my content and, all my other videos, then make sure to, if you haven't already, go and subscribe to my channel. I post stop motions, figure reviews. I'm starting to do some Dragon Ball Super reviews, and I wanted to quickly mention that I was going to I had 2 different separate videos. I was going to recap episode 66 of Dragon Ball Super and 67. The audio for that just, imploded on itself, and then I did it again, but this time I was also going over 68. So, and that just, the audio file just decided to completely just go suicide on me and just, it just died. It didn't save. It was so weird. But I'm going to try again and see if I can get that out soon. But anyway, let's get started with this review. So here we have the Civil War 3-pack box. It's pretty big. The brown shipping box that it came in was super freaking huge, though. It was surprisingly large for this box, which is pretty big, but the brown shipper box was pretty, it was bigger than that. So I just want to quickly go over that. You got the Marvel Captain America Civil War logo right here. You have Spider-Man. Spider-Man was here, and then you have Captain America. He was in the middle, and then Iron Man was over here. Then scattered around the package was the accessories. On this side, you have a picture of Steve Rogers, Captain America, and then you have over here Iron Man. And then if we turn around to the back, we get the 3 pretty nicely displayed there, and then they have this bio thing, mumbo jumbo, it's whatever, and a bunch of other stuff. Nothing much on the top or the bottom, so let's get on to each individual figure. So here we have the Marvel Legends Civil War, the Battle Damaged Captain America. It's pretty standard for Captain America, because we've seen this figure quite a few times, but it does differentiate enough to be, an exclusive, a battle damage, or whatever. Looks pretty fine to me. If you take a closer look, you can see that it is, significantly battle damaged on the, upper torso right here, and then there's some on the forehead, and then there's, the knees are a little bit dirtied up. I don't think the camera is really picking it up, but maybe you can see it's a little bit darker. Nothing else really battle damage wise anywhere else. Nothing on the back. It's pretty sporadic where all the dirt and burn marks are. The shield looks really nice. I really like the effects that it has with the black burn marks over it, and it looks really nice. Oops, sorry about that. It also has like the silver paint scratching it. I've heard a lot of reviewers talk about the same thing, and I would really, really like this as well. The scratch marks, the Black Panther scratch marks. I would love if they had made these like four, just these lines across the shield, representing Black Panther's claw marks that he scratched on there. I don't know. I might customize that myself. It would have been really cool, but it does look great nonetheless. If we take a closer look, the head sculpt is pretty nice. Nothing really to complain about there. Everything's looks fine. The the paint work is pretty good actually. It's nothing really on this figure is too sloppy. That's why I really actually like this figure. Some people are they got this figure multiple times because they reuse the same mold over and over, and I get that, but this is actually my first Captain America for Marvel Legends, especially with this mold, so, I actually really like it. Nothing really to complain sculpt-wise or paint-wise, honestly. Sometimes Legends get a little bit weird, especially like up in the face and stuff, but honestly, they did a pretty clean job on my copy, so I actually really like this. I didn't have such high expectations for this myself, but, it's, it's actually pretty good. Also, looking at the back here, we have the straps nicely detailed with the buckles and everything. None of that's really painted, but it's all just this brown, and some of it's textured, and then you got the inside, nothing really much there. And then of course you got the scratch marks. So anyway, that's Captain America. I think he's pretty cool. So we'll move on to my favorite figure of this 3-pack. To anyone who's familiar with this pack, they were probably thinking, it's Spider-Man, obviously. Actually, my favorite is Iron Man. And I will get into that when I talk about my opinions overall with everything, and when I get to Spider-Man. But overall, Iron Man is my favorite personally. Now, a lot of people will disagree with that, and that's fine, because they actually have this Iron Man, but, just regularly painted, no battle damage. But I actually don't. I have not been collecting Marvel Legends, and we got this, to start up kind of like a decent Marvel Legends collection. Like, I have a couple other superhero figures. I got this while it was on sale for, I believe, like $10. I actually got this Scourge Demolition Man. He's pretty cool too. I did not realize that he was that smaller than Iron Man. He must be closer in size with Captain America. He is a little bit taller than both of them, actually. Overall, I just like it more. And again, I'll go over that more in depth on, when I talk about Spider-Man. But anyway, I'm going to go over this quickly. Looking at the Iron Man, head sculpt, nothing wrong there. That looks perfectly fine. Honestly, this probably has the best paint apps of all of these. These figures, the black right here on the side looks really, really good, really well done. This side, too, is really nicely done. And then you have some on his leg as well. The rest of it is pretty normal for Iron Man, but, everything is clean. Everything is nicely painted. He has a little bit of that, like, gloss to him if you look very, very closely. A little bit of, like, the shine, the little bit of the sparkle every now and then, it's a little bit glittery, I guess. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Everything, all of his, pieces of armor and everything, and all the sculpt is, pretty great. No paint, issues or anything like that. So, all that's, pretty darn nice. So, That's pretty awesome. And yeah, he is something about him. He's just a really solid figure. Um, he really stood out to me, and I'll go over that because he has the right amount of accompanying accessories, and I'll go over that in a little bit. So um, let's move on to the last figure. Now, moving on to the last figure of this 3-pack is Spider-Man, the one that everyone was pretty much excited for, and so was I, but I have to give my honest opinion. I'm pretty disappointed in most terms of this figure, and a lot of people say this is a great figure. A lot of people say this might be one of the best Spider-Man figures of all time, and that's fine if you think that, but personally, the way this figure was hyped, I don't believe in that at all. I'm not a huge fan. I'll go over it quickly. I know this is a big gripe of mine, but it might just be with mine, but the butterfly joint is extremely loose. Like, it's very, like, just, it does not really, it's just loose. It's, ah. It's just not good. And this butterfly joint's a little bit better, but it's still kind of loose. And overall, he just seems very, very, skinny. And I don't mind the fact that he's, smaller in length, or not in length, in height. That's all right, even though he's a little bit shorter than I'd like him to be. It's still it works, but just his overall stature is just, to me, is just so flimsy, and it feels really cheap. And look at this. This is just tiny, very, very tiny. I mean, I've seen beefier, 3.75-inch Marvel figures, like, and the ones that aren't supposed to be beefy, like the Beast or anything like that. I'm talking like just standard ones. So, like, I mean, it's just something about it. It just throws me off. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like the fact that they sculpted in the lines. They should have painted that on. He should be brighter, honestly. A lot of people don't mind that he's not accurate, but at least give him that, considering he's pretty skinny and pretty flimsy for a figure. I mean, I understand he's a teenager, but jeepers, he's pretty skinny and he's pretty flimsy and kind of cheap almost, and it's just, I'm not a huge fan. I plan eventually in the future, I think overall, display-wise, and the looks are okay. They're pretty alright, but, like, on my shelf, I'll have them posed there for a while, but eventually, if I were to do another stop motion with Spider-Man, or have any other projects lined up for Spider-Man, I definitely would plan to get a different Marvel Legends Spider-Man, for sure. Especially, honestly, considering they're coming out with a lot more, comic book. They have the Green Goblin coming out, so I probably want to pick that up too. But that's besides the point. This could work with that, but still, it's just this figure should be brighter, honestly, in my opinion. With the lights on, he looks a little bit. From my perspective, he looks a little bit better than how I initially thought of him on camera. He looks about the same, I guess, but to me, he looks kind of dark for how he appeared in that's what was so eye-catching. It wasn't like the black lines or anything, or the new Spider-Man logo, which they didn't even get that right, which I guess I understand. Maybe they had him, pre-sculpted in advance, and then they changed the, design, for the movie one quickly, but I don't know, maybe they could have redone that somehow. I don't know. Just a minor complaint, I guess. But, like, it's not that, like I was saying, that's not what was, eye-catching to the new redesign, really. It was one of two things. One was the eyes, but they can't really portray that too much through a figure. But what was really eye-popping was the overall how colorful he looked. I mean, most of the time Spider-Man in movies looks pretty colorful. The red's pretty vibrant, but this one was just, the lines weren't so integrated. It was more, you know, refined, I guess. They were smaller. They were, you know, more subtle. And the colors, the red and the blue just pop. I think it's mostly the blue. It's such a dark blue, like a navy blue. I'm not a huge fan of that, because that's what, you know, was stood out about the, you know, the character design, you know, when he came out in the movie. I don't know. I got a bit ranty on this figure because it's not terrible. It's not like crap or anything. It's not like, you know, a deal breaker at all. But I expected more. I just did. I mean, honestly, he's just, in my opinion, he feels like a cheap Marvel Legends. He feels flimsy. Mine's was a little bit floppy. That might not be the case with others, but he just feels like way too skinny. I think he should be a little bit, I mean, not like a great amount, but just a little bit, you know. I understand he's like a teenager, but he's not 12 at the same time. And, you know, height comparison, oh, I mean, Iron Man would work, but at the same time, he's larger than, like, the average male for Marvel Legends, so, like, because he's in a suit. So, like, this would be average. Like, I mean, he just has boots on, so, yeah, you know, Cap has nothing, like, you know, making him significantly taller, and that seems like a decent height comparison, but at the same time, I feel, he could be a little bit bigger, and, for example, this is his upper arm. It's a decent size, and his is like this. Hang on, let me see if I can get a decent look at that. That's what the size is. So, I mean, you could have gotten like a middle ground of Caps and made his a little bit bigger. I don't know, something about his arms and his legs, he just feels so just skinny in a way, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I understand, you know, a teen, it could work, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. It just feels a little bit cheap, you know. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate it, but I'm not satisfied, you know. I feel like I would like to get another Spider-Man to fill the role of this one because I'm not a huge fan of this one. So let's get on with the articulation of all of them. First, let's just start with Spidey quick since we already have him here. He can look up. This is something that not really gonna complain too much about, except for the fact that this is loose, but that's not, you know, it still works. It's not like it's a frozen joint or anything. So he looks all the way up, which is good. He looks a decent, you know, a decent amount downward. He has the butterfly joint, which does allow him to get, you know, forward pretty nicely, so that's good. And it gets him, you know, really far back, so that's really nice. Bicep swivel, swivels all the way. Double jointed elbows are nice. The swivel hinge that are pegged in on the wrists, they work fine. Ab crunch, he does move really far back. Far forward, and he does move pretty far back, so that's nice. Waist swivel, hip joints move this much outwards, which is that's another thing that's a little bit like I'm not a huge fan. And you know, upper thigh swivel works fine. Double jointed knees work good. No boot cut articulation or nothing like that. He can move his feet forward. They move back like that, and he does have a decent good amount of ankle pivot. So overall, his articulation is good, but I'm just not a huge fan of how skinny he is. Maybe I'm being a little bit critical, but honestly, I'm trying to be optimistic about it, and this is just how I feel. Like, honestly, he could be a lot better. Just the way people described him, I don't know, I just feel he's lacking. So let's go over Cap quickly. This is nothing new, you know, same mold we've gotten a bunch of times. So can move up, not a whole lot on mine at least. Yeah, not a whole lot up, a decent, okay amount if you force it. Downward, not a whole lot, but a decent amount. His shoulder joints move up to here. Swivels, you know, double joints. The hinge works fine. The swivel, decent ab crunch works pretty good. and he does move forward back pretty nicely, pretty good. Waist swivel moves out about this much, which I'm not too happy about, but it's whatever. Moves far out pretty nicely. Moves back that much, which isn't much at all. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and the same articulation, forward, back, and ankle pivot. And so we'll move on to Iron Man. Oh, oops, my bad, guys. Let's move on to Iron Man quick. He does move up. His head moves up pretty far up. I do like that. And it moves pretty good, downwards motion. It's pretty nice. The shoulder pads do get in the way a little bit, but he does move out pretty far amount outward, all the way around. Upper thigh, upper, bicep swivel, which this does not get in the way of, actually, which is kind of surprising. Double, gosh, it's hard to bend, but double jointed elbows. The hinge swivel works fine. This upper diaphragm joint that pivots a little bit, actually. Pivots about that much, and moves forward and crunches a really nice amount back. Does a pretty nice job there. Nothing at the waist. Leg joints move out that much outwards, which is meh, but Iron Man doesn't really do splits much, so it's not a huge deal. Moves are this far, which it could be a lot more, honestly. It's whatever. And doesn't move far back at all. Thigh swivel, pretty nice. Double jointed knees, nice. Moves outward pretty nicely, back, and ankle pivots. So all of them have basically the same amount. Iron Man is a little bit limited, but overall, they do have about the same. So let's go over the all the accessories. So for Cap, we already looked over the shield, and also for Cap, he comes with this, supposedly Chris Evans head, even though, it's a bit, it's a bit weird looking. At some angles, it looks pretty good, actually, but I don't know, something about it, maybe, I don't know, I think his eyebrows just cut off a little bit too far to his nose, I guess. If I had to say something that could make him a little bit more, look a little bit more like him, and his eyes are a little bit off, but whatever. His hair is alright. Other than that, it's pretty decent. I do like Tony Stark's, his head, because he comes with one too. Looks pretty good. Not spot on, but it does do a decent enough job, and it is nice enough to it fairly resembles Robert Downey Jr. It does do a pretty decent job, a little bit better than the Chris Evans, the Captain America head sculpt that I just showed you. Hair's nice and wavy like how his hair is. So overall, it's pretty good. And now this is another reason that I really, really like Iron Man, because with the single peg, the single carded release, the regular Iron Man that came out in the wave that this Iron Man came out in, the regular variant, he came with two of these cool blast effects that could go on his hands or his feet, which were really nice. They were a little bit different than these, but they were about the same. And then this one also comes with a second pair. So if you wanted to, you could also get the, you can get both at the same time. So you can get the feet like so, and then if you were to plug in one of the blue ones, for example, you can mix and match. They both fit in the same one. So if you want the blue ones on the feet and the orange ones on his hands, that works. So you can get him in a pose like so. I think that's really, really cool. Or if you, take the blue one off and, you pose him around a little bit, you have him looking up, like so, and you can have him soaring like that, which I think is really, really cool. And also have him, blasting with another one of these, you know, and then you can have the other one pegged in too because you have the other one, so that's really, really cool. Lots of display options for Iron Man, and I dig that a lot. Captain America, he has a shield and he has the other head, which is fine, but you know, not much you can give him, but a fair amount. But his Iron Man's is a lot fair better. And now for Spider-Man's accessories. He comes with no accessories whatsoever, which is another little gripe of mine, honestly. Unless you want to count the shield, which he had in one scene, which is very iconic, and it was a really cool scene. I love the movie. The scene was freaking epic, and I fanboyed out really bad when I saw the scene in the trailer. But, I mean, I'm sorry, that's Captain America's shield. That's his accessory. He's meant to be displayed with that because it's a shield. And, I mean, Spider-Man was packaged with the shield by his side, but, I mean, they're not going to give Captain America just the head sculpt, you know? That's his shield, you know? That's meant technically for him. You can interchange. You can have this in his hand, you know, perfectly fine. You know, if you work around it, which the thwipping hand doesn't really help his case. I should have posed it on the other hand, but this is how it was packaged. This is how he's promoted, so he has to fit this way. Yep, he does. And it takes a little bit of work too, but you can get the whole him holding Captain America's shield pose going on, you know, like so, and it looks cool, and I like that. But display wise, just displaying him is fine. But holding him, if I were to use him for a stop motion, I don't like when I a while back I did Spider-Man versus Scorpion. That was with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man for that movie, and that was from the not the Hobgoblin, the Green Goblin Build-A-Figure wave, and I did not like that figure for many of the reasons I don't like this figure. Too flimsy, too skinny, kind of cheap feeling, and honestly, I think I like this figure a little tiny bit better than that, but just because of his design, the movie he's from, and I don't know, he's alright. He's decent, you know, he's like he's okay, but there's just too many things that, compared to if I had the same expectations that I did for, per se, Cap over here, then I probably would have been, you know, like, oh, I probably like this figure more, but, you know, I had higher expectations, and I had low expectations for Cap, but I actually ended up really liking this figure. So I don't know. I've been a bit ranty about it, but I want to be real with you guys because I got it for 20, and hopefully you guys can take advantage of that deal and get it for 20. But at the same time, it's not worth 60 in my opinion. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, I'll just just quickly go over my overall opinions quickly. So overall, I think this is a pretty darn good set. I must say it does have a lot of ups. It has a lot of accessories for Iron Man and Captain America. I like those figures. Spider-Man's alright. So overall, I think this is pretty much worth it for 20, maybe 40. I've seen it for 40 in a couple different places, 45. But overall, in my opinion, do I think it's worth the retail like 60? Not really, because I just don't think this figure is worth 20. Maybe 15. I think 10 would be fair, so, like, if you were to pay, what is that, 20 plus 20, 40, 50. If you were to pay, like, 50, I guess it would be, I think that'd be, like, I think 40 is, like, a fair, like, that's the most you should pay for it, in my opinion. I just don't think Spidey's worth that much, honestly, but I think for 20, for the deal I got it, I think it's definitely worth it. I feel like I paid, 20 for, like, Iron Man or something and got these two for free, or, like, paid, like, 10 for Iron Man, 10 for Cap, and got a free Spider-Man, and that's how I feel about it, and then I got the mask or whatever, but that's part of the bundle. I don't really care for the mask. If you guys want it, I don't know, hit me up about it. If you're into the role-playing Iron Man mask stuff, I'll sell it to you or something. I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is a pretty long review. I got a bit ranty about the Spider-Man, but I personally think throughout all the hype that it got, it's not really that great. I just wanted to let you guys know about that because if you're interested in this, it's definitely a good time to pick this up because on Walmart they still have it. For the Walmart website, they have it for sale. Other places they have it not for 20, but they have it for like 40. I've seen it for 35. So it would be a good time to go ahead and pick this up. I know it's a bit of an older set, but it's not, it's not ridiculously old. And it's a good time to think about picking this set up if you haven't already. Which, if you haven't, you are very blessed because paying $60 for this, in my opinion, is probably not worth it. Considering Spidey over here, I don't know, he's kind of a weak link in a way. I just expected more, But anyway, it's been a pretty long review. I'm sorry about that, but if you did make it this far and you did enjoy the review, oh crap. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment and subscribe. If you guys want me to make more Marvel Legends reviews, then definitely tell me in the comments below. Give me your, overall feedback and opinions in the comments below. Anyway, I will catch you guys later. See you in the next one.